Hello and welcome to this tutorial. Here we'll learn something more about our selection tool in a bit more detail, and we'll be using our gradient tool to see how we could swap in two colors and make different gradients. So with our selection tool, let's first draw in some shape. For example, let's draw a rectangle, and we won't be using a stroke, so let's add some fill here, for example a red maroon color, and let's draw in a perfect rectangle. I'll be using a perfect rectangle, so I'll keep making that to 0, and a perfect rectangle. Here we go. Once you have done that, let's select our selection tool and see how we could use this selection tool. The shortcut key for that is V. So a selection tool is basically, it selects anything you click and drag over on the stage. So since we have selected the whole thing here, let's select a part of this rectangle. So I'm selecting a part of the rectangle, and without using any keys on the keyboard, just drag this on the side. It separates this shape from the one piece of it. So we could even do that on this side or somewhere from between. It does like that. And when you can see the selection tool, once you come at a pointed edge, you could see that it has a rectangle type pointed edge. So when you click and drag, you could see that you could move this edge, and you could see that it's swapping around and sticking on edges here. That's due to the magnet which is clicked here, which snaps to the objects. So if you turn that off, you could see that you could move this around freely. Once you have that done, play around with this or come on any point here. Once you have seen, when you come on the pointed edge here, you could move the pointed edge directly as it is. But if you would come to a point that is a straight line and having no pointed edge, you would see that a curve occurs below the arrow, and when you click and drag, you get a curved shape here. You could get this anywhere where there is no pointed edge, like for example on this side or on this side, you could get a curved type of shape here. That's how the selection tool basically works. And you have another option, which is if you want to create another point from here. Let's say you want to create another sharp edge like this, using your Alt key. Without using your Alt key, if you would roll over, you would see a curve which occurs as it used to occur. When you hold your Alt key, you get nothing but a curve. But if you would click and drag, you would see that it becomes a pointed edge. I'm still holding my Alt key. Now I released it. So that even occurs when you have a curve like this. You could get a pointed edge, which you can see gives a different type of shape. This gives you a curve, but if you use your Alt key and drag, you get a pointed shape. That's the way it works. And in case you have something selected, if you use your Alt key and drag this around, you could see that the arrow has a plus sign, which is basically duplicating and making a copy of it. And that's all what the selection key has. So now let's delete all this by selecting the whole thing here, or you could even click on the frame here, one click, and you select everything on this stage. And let's delete that. Let's create a rectangle. So we'll add some gradient to it. Once you've drawn a rectangle on the stage, make sure you are in the stage, which is the white part, and let's select our selection tool back here, and going to the color palette on this side. If yours is not open, it would be under window and color, which is the shortcut key Shift F9. And once you have that, you can see the fill color is completely solid here, which is one color. Let's open up the type here, which is solid, and change the fill style to linear, radial, or bitmap, which is, you could add images on the shape here. Let's use linear for this tutorial. And let's say we have a black to white. Let's make sure that's on. And using your paint bucket tool, let's simply click on this rectangle here we have, and once you see that it applied the gradient on this rectangle, you could adjust this gradient by going to the free transform here and selecting the gradient transform tool. Once you click on that and click on the rectangle here, you see that we have some new options here which you could reduce this and turn or make the gradient, depends on how you'd like that. You could reduce this a bit or take the black out completely. Let's try changing the color. Make sure you have your selection tool selected and your shape here selected. So make sure you have this selected, and let's change the color here. As you change, it completely changes the rectangle here. You can see that since it's selected, you could add some colors. You can see once the gradient is added here, the rectangle is more seen here. Now let's try the type to a radial. With the same color, you could see that the radial is applied to this. You could even try to add another color here with the gradient. Let's move this bar a bit side, and you can see near the arrow we have a plus sign which adds a new color. And let's double click on this, change the color. Let's use a darker red. You can see that we have all of our three colors, the red, the orange and the dark red. So that's how our gradient tool works. I hope you learned something from this, and thank you for watching.